Hey Louie, how are ya?
Hey, what's up, Lorraine?
Our guests today are the men of the Ghost Unit Kitchen. It's actually two guys that have two separate businesses that we'll tell you about, your Empanadas and JD's Taste Kitchen, and they mashed up and came together to become Ghost Unit Kitchen. And there's a very, important reason of why this is happening a lot more nowadays across the hospitality industry, not just here in Las Vegas, but across the country right now for many reasons. So sharing is caring. And in pandemic provisions today, we are talking about things you share. I will start. My favorite shared item nowadays is the charcuterie board. I know it's very basic B, but here's the thing.
It's not, it's bougie.
It can be basic B and bougie at the same time, so I guess that just is the definition of me.
Yeah.
Usually
depends what you put on it.
Exactly. Like if you're putting caviar, blinis, and truffles, then different story. But I'm talking about like the general American charcuterie board. Nowadays it's like 3 meats, 3 cheeses, some jams, some fruit maybe, that kind of stuff. But it goes back actually to 15th century France. The word charcuterie, obviously a French word. And of course it started because of that need to preserve items for a longer period of time. Of course, this is before refrigeration. And so, cured meats happened way before that because they were, it goes back to the Roman ages when they cured meats because of the lack of refrigeration. But in France, as France does, they upped the ante and made it like a cool thing that people shared on a board. I like it at my home because sometimes when we're lazy, and honestly, as you get older, you get less hungry at night, if that makes sense. But we will think, I don't want a whole dinner. I don't want like a big thing. So let's put out some meats, some cheeses, some jams, some fruit, and just, have fun, have a glass of wine, talk with each other, hang out. Mitch tries these different combos because it kind of gives each person, a different bite every time. That's fun. And quick plug for us, I will tell you some great tips that you can get if you go back to Wonder Woman of Cheese, Diana Breer. She does an awesome job on our YouTube channel. So go search Two Sharp Chefs and go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And also go check out Diana Breer. She's amazing. She knows everything about cheese. She's actually an entrepreneur, so she's an expert. And she also recently bought Valley Wine and Cheese. So you can go visit her over there as well, and she'll give you tips. She's awesome at that. I love charcuterie. And what do you love, Louie? What do you love to share?
Well, mine's a little bit more common, but it's like the most popular shareable food in the U.S. Pizza. So quick plug. So we did episodes on pizza, so I'm not going to talk about the history of pizza anymore because our friend and Pizza Yoda, Mr. John Marino, already tackled that in that episode.
Please go check that one out. One of our favorites of all time.
Yeah. But, so I'm going to talk about fun facts about pizza. Okay. Just American facts. So did you know that Americans eat approximately 100 acres of pizza every day? And that's like roughly 350 slices per second.
Yeah, that's believable to me because pizza's a food group for me and for you, I know. So it's a thing, can't live without pizza.
36% of all pizzas are topped with pepperoni.
Now that's basic B or basic P.
But now there's like different types of pepperonis, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really going through that cup and char pepperoni phase that other people are going through right now. He's got that extra bit of oil and moisture in the middle of it, and it's kind of crispy on the outside. So it's a little less basic B and more like cool nowadays to have a cup and char. Speaking of cool, we have some badass MOC, men of color, that have mashed up a business together and started the Ghost Unit Kitchen. Louie, today we are chatting with the men behind Ghost Unit Kitchen here in Las Vegas. We have Chef John Batista with us, and we have Chef Jordon Dunewood with us. How are you, fellas?
Doing good.
Great. How we doing?
We're very good. So first, we want you to explain what the hell is a Ghost Unit Kitchen?
So because of COVID, it kind of forced us into this concept. It's not a concept that we came up with by any means. It's been around for a while, but because of COVID, it kind of forced us into it. So basically what a ghost kitchen is just a remote commercial kitchen, just like any other, without the dining room. So you can call in orders. You can order for delivery with Postmates, Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever. But it's not a place that you can come and dine in. Your food is still being made with the same precautions, the same training, same skill set as you would at any other location, but it's just not a dine-in facility.
And the inspiration for the name, please tell me it's like G Unit, G Unit, G Unit.
All day.
Is
All
it?
day.
What do you think, guys? Is this the future of small businesses doing something like this?
I mean, I personally feel like it's not going away anytime soon. I think the two will coexist, but I don't think this is like a pop trend. It's going to be gone next year. It's going to be a little while. They're starting to come on a lot more. And actually, me working with the casino still and doing this, I see both sides of it. And right now, this is definitely the right avenue to go Ghost Unit, to go contactless delivery, to go paperless. That's the route to go, because a lot of people are still cautious, still worried getting out there and just not sure they want to be out there in the public and eating out in public and just going through all the processes of wearing the mask out. They'd rather come get the same quality food and be able to take it home and eat it, or sit at a park somewhere and eat it. Just you're still getting that chef-driven, inspired food, and it's fun for us too, because it gives us the opportunity to switch up our menu. We can do daily specials, whatever we're feeling like doing that day. We got some stuff we want to play with this week. We can do it, and it just allows us to be more creative, be more fun, and just go with the flow. Quarantine, COVID has definitely changed a lot of things for me on my day to day, but we're evolving with it. We're rolling with the punches, and it's starting to grow a little bit and get pretty good. So hopefully we can keep this train rolling and see it grow and blossom even more.
So what I heard was that obviously you're from New York, and that you sold everything with your wife and just decided to just like come out of here to Vegas and start a food truck.
Yep.
What was the impetus for that? Like, who does that, first of all?
Yeah,
why
Vegas?
Yeah.
Why Vegas?
Yeah, like why here and like why a food truck suddenly,
Oh, absolutely. So it kind of all, like I said, my whole life has led to this point. 10 years ago, I actually lived in Las Vegas when I was a single guy for 3 years. And I actually worked for the casino. So I saw that aspect of it. When I went back to New York, I met my wife, and, I was working out there, but I felt like something was missing. I missed the palm trees. I don't know. It's something. So, at one point she looked at me and was like, you know what, let's do it. You want to go and you want to have a brick and mortar and you want to have a food truck. That's not possible in New York because it's just so expensive. Yep. And right now in the food truck green, what's going on is that there's no permits anymore. They have exhausted all their permits. So what's happening is now people that had it from many generations ago, they're holding on to the permits, these $200 permits, and they're selling it on the black market for like 30 grand.
Wow.
So, it's kind of like a liquor license almost.
Absolutely.
Right?
They're holding, it's like gold right now. And then once you get your permit, the food truck on 3 wheels is 150 grand. So you're 250,000 in without making a dollar. How can you survive on that model? It's impossible. So when we looked at things, we were like, you know what? If we sell our house, we'll have enough to live out there and start this dream. And that's exactly what we did.
Interesting. And Chef Jordon, let's talk a little bit about your background. You recently worked as executive chef for Robert Irvine's Public House. Now you have JD's Taste Kitchen. It specializes in Southern style gourmet street food. Obviously, you're kind of from the South and stuff, and you come from that background, but why this specific type of cuisine for your own business?
Well, it's always been my wheelhouse. like I said, my family's from down south, and it's always been comfort food to me. Some of my first couple chefs, Aaron Lawson was one of my first chefs. He was very low country bistro style food, southern style cuisine, and I learned a lot from him. So I definitely picked off some of those things, and at the same time, those were all things I enjoyed cooking at home, just not to that scale, just not to that degree. He brought a lot of different ingredients for me that I didn't know could translate into what I was cooking, and that just opened my world. And I was like, yes, I can definitely make a career out of this. I enjoy cooking food. People tell me that my food is good, so why not roll with that, elevate it, and just try to get my food and put it in front of the right people and see if they enjoy it. And I just stuck with it. It's just that kind of brought me out here because it got me into the casino world. Back in Toledo, I'd never stepped foot in the casino before I got hired in the casino.
Wow.
So I was just bouncing around from different restaurants, nothing crazy, nothing high end or high scale. And I finally lucked up and got a position as a prep cook in a 5-star restaurant at one of the casinos that just got built in Ohio. So, I'm walking in, I'm nervous. All these guys come in with their chef coats on, they knife, and I don't even have any knives or a bag. I'm just kind of just cracking the surface. And it was just seeing those guys, how they really enjoyed it, their craft, and had so much fun doing it. At this point, I'm just in the corner prepping at this point. I'm not on the flame in the fire getting the orders and seeing what's going on, but just looking from afar. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get on that line. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to keep doing that. So I just, when it was time to go home, I would clock out. My chef would still be upstairs. I would go back up. Chef, what you got going on? How can I help? What can I do? And he just showed me things. So I definitely picked up on those things, and that's something that I take with me everywhere I go. Every staff that I've trained, everywhere I've trained, I always tell them, listen, don't wait on me. Don't wait on the next person to go tell you to learn something or tell you to check something out. If you feel comfortable with what you're doing, look at the person next to you, see what they're doing, learn what they're doing. If that bores you, go to the front, see what the front of house does.
Yeah.
The more well-rounded you are, the more useful you are, the more that you're wanted.
Yep.
So it's just something that you definitely want to do and have and just be able to go with. So having that opportunity to work with those great chefs definitely got me to where I am. And Vegas, it was not on my radar. Before I moved out here, I was never in Vegas before, and I've actually only been on a plane maybe twice before that.
Wow.
So literally, my VP in Ohio at the casino that we worked for, I worked my way up to line cook, finally got into the flame, worked my way up to a sous chef, and then I worked my way up to I was running the buffet, and I actually became the room chef of that restaurant. I started as a prep cook in. So that kind of opened up my view. Was like, I can do this. I mean, I have skill. I'm right here with these guys that have been to school for years and doing it, and it was just a great opportunity. So my VP moved to Vegas, and it's just me and my girlfriend right now. He was like, "Hey man, how do you feel about Vegas?" I mean, it was never even my radar. I was like, "Why not?" So came out to Vegas, and I loved it. I got the opportunity to work with Robert Irvine, and he definitely taught me a few things, and it's 180 out here compared to Ohio for sure. It's a lot faster paced, but it's a nice grind, and I love it. I enjoy it, and I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. And quarantine hit, and everything went cold, and actually that's how I met Chef John, and we've been hitting and running ever since. So definitely want to just keep the grind going.
Those are some really great tips that Chef Jordon had right there for those of you in our culinary school audience. We have quite a few culinary school students and professors and stuff that talk to us about listening to our podcasts. And the people that are young, the young prep cooks and the young line cooks, like remember that. Most chefs, unless they're a total full asshole, will totally help you out, especially if they're not busy. Like, obviously, don't do it like while everybody's freaking in the weeds. But I mean, like that time that you're talking about, Chef Jordon, like at night when like people are just like finishing up their stuff.
So, trust me, if you show that you want to learn and you want to grow, no one's going to say, "Oh, no, I don't have time for you." Now, I love the people. They come to me like, "Chef, how do I do this? How do I do this?" I get excited. I enjoy that. That gives me the opportunity to show them something they're happy about. They want to learn it. They can take it home. And everyone should know how to cook. It's therapeutic. I feel like it. It's it makes the day it makes the day easier. And just you can have a long day, and somebody can be having a terrible day, and you put some good food in front of them, all that goes out the window.
Changes everything right away.
I've never worked in a setting before where it was several different people cooking, different kinds of foods. These commercial
How do you
kitchens
do it?
are super interesting to me, like Jolene starting her Vegas test kitchen, where those chefs will also have the opportunity to kind of just like, hey, you're making a pie. Hey, you're making bagels. Like, it's, it's stuff that you don't necessarily do. Like, yeah, we've done it before, maybe once or twice, but, we're not spending every single day doing every single kind of cuisine. A lot of the time you're a robot and you're doing your thing, like whatever you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so how is that for you guys?
It's kind of inspiring because we got our own thing going, but then we see what another chef is doing. And one of the cool things about the kitchen that we're in, Resorts World is in there. So what they're doing is chefs that are lobbying for a position, instead of bringing a resume to the table, they're actually have a whole week to prepare a whole tasting menu, and then they present it at the end of the week. So we get a different flavor of chef in there every single week. So
I love that.
Not only are we feeding off of each other, but it also inspires me to make a new flavor. I mean, I just came out with a hot Cheeto mac and cheese empanada and a chocolate barbecue empanada, and that was all from other chefs. I mean, the chocolate barbecue came from Chef Jordon when he was working on some things, and he came up with that. I'm like, yeah, well, that's just like mole. And I'm like, well, we could do this over here. And we just, that's how I love to be in that environment. And one thing that is really cool about us, us East Coast boys is, we get in where we fit in. So sometimes we're working on this table and then, that's full today. And then there's 15 people on this line and we just get in where we fit in and we just continue doing what we're doing. There's no excuses. There's no complaining. You just got a job to do and you get it done.
Yeah.
So that's for creative purposes.
Yes.
What about for like roommate purposes? Is it like, like you occupy this side of the kitchen and, is there like anything, do you guys butt heads sometimes?
I mean,
on the flip side,
in every kitchen you're going to butt heads, but I feel like chef-wise, when you butt heads, there's really, like, me and John can cuss each other out in the next minute. We're talking about sports. Like it's not a hold a grudge. Now I'm in a pouty mood, and we're not going to talk the rest of the shift or not rest of the day. Like, granted, you're going to, especially, it's a very stressful career. It's a stressful workforce. Like, so you're going to have those days when it's got a lot going on, and somebody might say something or might use your saran wrap, but it's all part of the job.
But I use your saran wrap.
and I mean, like, I wouldn't mind if someone uses my glove. So I hope if I need to wear a glove, I can run over here and grab some gloves and it won't be a problem. So I feel like everyone in the kitchen kind of knows that there's going to be situations where, I need an ounce of something that I don't have.
Yeah. They
have it. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I use that ounce of something, and if I return it or not. But you should be able to do that with each other, and you'll build that relationship. It's kind of like, you don't have to say it. They already know it. Like, just do your thing, use your stuff when you got to use it, just return it if you use a lot. So it's a challenge at some points, but I mean, I've been doing it for a long time and working in a lot of different kitchens, so I can adjust to a lot of situations. So
so it's an unspoken rule of the Ghost Unit kitchen.
And one of the cool things is that what we've experienced for the most part is other chefs are like, hey, chef, what do you need? We had a tasting the other night for a couple foodies, and I've had 3 or 4 chefs walk up to us and go, hey, you need anything? You need glassware? You need this? You need that? Like, because they know what it entails to put together a tasting. They know what it entails to put together a dish. Yeah. So when you're working with people that work in your field and held your position, it's easier to talk and relate to somebody like that that's other than, a suit and tie that's never been in the kitchen. It was like, well, let's put these rules in here. Like, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to be in that environment.
Spot on. While we're on collaboration, let's go ahead and move on to Chefs for Vegas. We all have one man in common here, Chef Justin Franco. He actually is my first mentor. So I don't know if you guys know that, but like, he was the one that got me my first job at Gallagher's back when they wouldn't give me a job, so many chefs. And one actually said to me, I will never hire a weather girl, because before that I was a news anchor. So, and I had never even done the weather, but he was just being a dick, because some chefs are dicks. So actually after that, it was like the impetus, because when Justin had heard that, he was like, fuck that, dude. I'm going to put you in the prep kitchen. Like, I'm going to give you a chance. That's just not cool, to say that. So anyways, having said that, how did this kind of come about? And, why did you feel like you needed to do it?
So when the pandemic hit, we didn't know each other. I was running my food truck. And then the first week we lost $10,000 worth of guaranteed sales working with high profile clients, we were super bummed.
Yeah.
And it trickled down from there. That was just the start of it. It would trickle down from there. A couple weeks into it, we get a Facebook post from Justin, who I didn't know at the time, saying that, hey, I have this company who wants to get rid of some of their product because normally the casinos buy it, but they're not buying it and it's going to spoil sitting on these racks. So what can we do with it? Can anybody use this product in their restaurant? I looked at it and firstly said, well, maybe I could use the products. Maybe it could counteract kind of what I normally buy. Maybe it could help me out in my food truck. But the quantity that he got me with was, oh no, if you want pasta sauce, they want like 100 cases of it and pallets of this. And I'm like,
no.
yeah, no. I can't facilitate that. So I said, you know what, forget about me. Who can we donate it to? And Justin was like, say no more. I'm going to meet you at your food truck event this Saturday, and I'm going to bring some chefs. And he brought a table and a clipboard and a pen and 5 chefs. And we created Chefs for Vegas right then and there, which was really, really cool.
Ooh.
I never met any of them before. We had our first distribution the following week. We fed 367 families with different products from different food vendors, establishments that just had food that was just sitting there. We got it together and we created boxes. 6 o'clock in the morning, we're renting out space to make these boxes and give it out. It was a really cool idea. And then we said, well, we did it once. Why can't we do it again? And we did 4 straight weeks of that. The second round of distributions came from the Department of Agriculture. They got with Get Fresh here in town, and they paid them to do produce boxes. So just fresh produce to give to people, but they didn't have a means to get it out. They created the boxes, but they didn't. So they work with 3 Square, they work with us, they work with other nonprofits. So that wave was giving out products there. The third round, we worked with Vesta Food Service, which is out in California, and they had combo boxes. So it was fresh produce, proteins, and dairy in the same box. Super cool. And this time around, we got pallets of food instead of just cases of food. So up to date, don't quote me exactly, but we're at 36,000 families fed since April 22nd. During that time, we filed the paperwork and we did our 501c. So now we're officially a 501c here in town. And the thing that hits home for me is that I'm meeting people, in my industry, which is really cool. But what has been affected most by COVID, besides financially, is food. Mm-hmm. And people have so many food insecurities now. It's crazy. I mean, people in my neighborhood who teach my kids in their school would not knock on my door and say, hey, I need a box of produce. They're too ashamed to do that. So they go through back channels. But at the end of the day, if I know they got the food, my heart is filled and I'm happy. And through that is where I met Justin, where I met Chef Jordon, and, collaboration. So when people say COVID and this year was so bad, I mean, yeah, there was horrible things that happened this year. But I think a lot of good and came out of it, and we're going to be set up great for next year.
James Beard Foundation has an amazing phrase that they use privately, and they say, chefs get shit done. Mm-hmm. That's their motto at James Beard Foundation.
Yep.
And, it goes along with what you guys are talking about, but this is like literally what we do all day long.
All day.
Like, it's just putting out fires. I was just talking to my husband about that today. It's like, it's not so much about having the skill just to do and like cook and bake and all the stuff that we do. It's the skill to figure out what to do when shit goes wrong.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's really the difference.
And that's the difference between a cook and a chef.
All right, let's move on to show and tell.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what you guys have. We like to be surprised. So let's start with Chef John. What do you have for the class today?
So I have a picture of my grandfather.
Oh, I just got chills because I'm a girl.
And that means a lot to me because, like I said, he didn't even finish the 3rd grade because he had to help his family in the fields, working hard and everything. So he never really fully learned English. He grew up in Panama, and he was self-taught, and he self-taught himself into being a boating engineer. And
whoa.
That means a lot. It's my son in the background. They have
3 generations.
It means a lot because he didn't finish 3rd grade, and he taught himself how to be a boating engineer. And his team is the one that created the 3 gates, the 3 channels in the Panama Canal that go from one side of the world to the other. Because of his interactions with different sailors, he learned how to cook. So when my grandmother passed away, he's the one that taught me how to cook food. But it wasn't just Hispanic food. It was like German dishes and like Portuguese dishes. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, how did you learn how to cook this? He's like, I learned because you learn not to be stagnant in what you're doing. You always look over. It means a lot that work ethic, that those values were instilled to me because of him. So that means everything. I carry this picture around with the food truck with me and everything.
You learned the OG hustle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you,
Solid.
Chef Jordon? What you got there, Chef? Ooh.
The story behind it is that, so kind of rewind back to my first topic of getting the opportunity to work in that 5-star restaurant, 4-star restaurant, being a prep cook, seeing those guys online doing their thing. Later on down the road, they start having like knife fight competitions, which will be, it's a TV show that used to come on called Knife Fight, where chefs around the city would just come into somebody's restaurant and just throw down. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was going up against some cooks that they went to culinary school, they trained for it. They were having fun, but at the same time, they knew a lot more than I did at that point. But I went in there, they gave us the ingredients. The ingredients were, we had whiskey, Romanesco, chicken breast, and sweet potato.
Okay.
Yes, it caught me off guard. So the first three, the whiskey didn't come in play until 20 minutes after we started cooking. So they threw a curveball at us midway. So we're making the dishes. I made my chicken breast. I made the sweet potato into a puree. I fried the Brussels sprouts. I made my stuff look good. And the other chefs are scrambling around. Like, I don't think I had as much pressure because I was taking it serious, but I knew I didn't know as much as them. So I wasn't as nervous as them.
Yeah.
So doing stuff or putting stuff together. And as I'm working next to these guys, I'm looking at their food. I'm looking at my food. I'm like, I can hang with these cats. I can do the same thing they're doing. I'm in here cooking with the flames getting burned, and we put our food up, got judged, and came down. I won, and I got the knife for the award, and that right there just makes me realize, like, listen, I know I can do this. I know I can do the same thing these guys are doing, and that just really just lit the fire even more. Because at that point, I already knew that's what I wanted to do, but that kind of just took me up a little bit, picked me up a little bit, and made me more confident in myself.
It's Two Sharp Chefs on the fly, 60 seconds. Rapid fire questions. I'm going to start with Chef John. Food guilty pleasure.
Cheesecake.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
Your food truck soundtrack.
DMX.
Best holiday side dish.
Pasteles.
Ooh. Comfort food craving.
Peach fried chicken.
Yeah, you did. Ready for this? Best thing about Queens besides coming to America.
Ethnicity.
Yeah? Like just the amount of diversity?
So it's so much people out there from different parts of the world, and you get different cuisines. Night markets are ridiculous. You can get food from everywhere all day.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems amazing.
Louie, get ready for Chef Jordon.
Jordon, are you ready? Comfort food craving.
Grease.
Okay. The best thing about chef life.
The hustle, the grind.
The worst thing about chef life.
The hours.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you were in kindergarten?
I was kindergarten, a football player.
Your favorite swear word?
Probably fuck.
One blackmailable fact about yourself.
I'm a very good bowler. I bowled 4 years in high school.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't see. I'm the one that's gonna walk in with my bowling bag, my shoes. I got my gloves, and a lot of people don't know that about me.
Okay.
That's a good one, because I definitely don't imagine you when I think of like
Right?
some random Kingpin character or something.
I don't think you're a bowler.
I'm going to have you guys go ahead and sell it for your G-Unit Kitchen. What do you want people to know? How do they reach you? How do they do this?
We have 4 different concepts. We have an empanada concept. We have a southern fried chicken concept. We have a wings and soup concept, and we have a meal prep concept. So, we can get different kind of chef-driven food out of a kitchen right to your doorstep through Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub. We're on all those things. Facebook, social media, Instagram. We're on all of that.
If someone wants to call me like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, 9 times out of 10, I can make that for you. Just give me some time.
Absolutely.
So,
That's really fun for us because we have these set menus, but we can go outside the box and do things. Chef Jordon does brunches, so he puts out a special menu for brunch. Probably once a month we're doing it now. We're also going to do sample boxes where pay as you can. We actually opened up the concept with that. So the very first day we had a sample box of everything that we want to do, and it was pay what you can. So it was a $20 box, but people paid $50 for it and paid it forward, or paid nothing and got a free box of food. So we still try to help the community out and still practice our craft. But yeah, absolutely. We could do any and everything in the kitchen.
yep.
That's awesome. Las Vegas, hear that?
Yes.
Give them a call.
All
Let's
right.
do it, baby.
Ghost Unit Kitchen, 2 happy, hustling men of color working it in Las Vegas. Thank you so much. You were
We
awesome.
appreciate you guys. I love you guys.
Thank you guys for having us. I appreciate it. It was awesome.